how do we deal with family members who have toxic or unhealthy behaviors? All right. So we talk about people who have certain habits, right? And we all have bad habits, right? But we talk about people who are just have very unhealthy ways, meaning that they have ways that make it difficult for them or for you to engage with them in a fruitful way. They could be people who lie, people who blame, people who are very, very emotional. I was talking to someone not long ago, a few days ago, actually, and she was telling me how her daughter is very, very emotional. She has some deeper psychological issues. And when she gets upset, she just has these outbursts and she's mean and she doesn't control her emotions and she blames people and just generally it's very hard to be in a relationship with her because you just don't always know what she's going to do. You can almost anticipate that she's going to have some very strong emotional response, but you just don't know like what she'll say to you, what she'll do, and it's just it's like a roller coaster. And I mean, I've experienced difficult relationships with people that I love, so I wanted to talk about that. How can we? How do we deal with family members who are toxic or family members who have toxic ways? Go ahead. What do you all think?
I think number one, you need to make it clear to your family members that there is no rule in stone that says that you got to subscribe or be subjected to behaviors that put you at risk mentally, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. I think we have this kind of halo or this kind of thing when it comes to like blood family members. And let me just put it out there while we start this conversation, you do not have to deal with everybody that you related to. Period, point blank. You don't. And you don't have to subscribe to certain behaviors. Like, you get one life to live. And my belief is that if this person cannot honor boundaries you set up, if you can't really just have a conversation with this person, if they can't meet you where you are and you've made efforts to meet them where they are, and you're just getting burned every time, you can set a boundary, and that boundary can look like, I don't deal with this person right now, or I don't deal with this person here, or we don't take conversations no further than the family reunion, like, because I can't deal with you, and that's just it. Like, I've seen so many people try to push narratives and relationships with certain family members, and it has almost killed them because they feel like they're obligated to deal with people that are their blood kin or their family or whatever. And it's just, for me, the older that I get, I'm realizing that I have low tolerance for certain things. So it's just like, if it's not productive, if it's not meaningful, if it's not benefiting the both of us, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Let's just draw a line and move on from each other. We can say, hey, we can be cordial, but I can't.
Yeah. I have a relative. The person does not live here in Illinois. They live in the South. And when the person calls you, the person wants to be on the phone for at least 2 to 3 hours. I have other siblings that will sit on the phone for that amount of time, and I won't. And so the person was upset with me because it's like, no, 2, 3 hours. I don't talk to Jesus for that long. I don't talk to you about 2, 3 hours. No. And the person stopped calling me. And I would say, when's the last time you talked? Oh, I talked to you yesterday. I just put the phone on speaker and I did my laundry. I washed dishes. No, I'm not doing that. I talked to finally I got in contact with the person and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk that long. So I was cooking dinner. Oh, you're cooking dinner. What you're cooking? Blah, blah, blah. I'll talk to you while you cook. No, you're not going to talk to me while I'm cooking dinner. I talked to you on the ride home from work. Now I'm inside. I love you. I'm not going to talk to you. You're right. I never want to talk to you for 2 or 3 hours. Nope, I don't. And so there have been times that I've called, won't answer the phone. It's like, I'm good. Lord, you talked to my sister a couple days ago. You healthy? I'm good. So you do have to set boundaries, and those individuals will become upset, but they'll get over it. They'll definitely get over it. Now, when the relative calls me after 20, 25 minutes on the phone, click, they rudely, voluntarily get off the phone. So I'm not going to talk to you for no 2 or 3 hours. So, if that's how you want to communicate, that's your choice. But you do have to set up those boundaries and let them know, look, I'm not going to do this. It's not that I don't love you. It's not that I don't care. I'm not. And they will be offended for a minute, but they'll get over it and they'll adjust to your boundaries, because you have to set them. Because if not, you will get. I have watched my mom in particular get stressed out because she does not know how to set boundaries with her children. And I'm the type, no, it's not. And it's sad that you almost have to. Sometimes you do have to get into conflict with individuals to set your boundaries. You do. And it's sad that it has to be that way. You can't have mutual respect, but it sometimes you have to do for your mental health, because people will drain the life out of you. And it's unfortunate.
They will. They definitely will. And I've learned to just be more honest and say, you know what, as opposed to not putting the boundary there or not being honest about why I'm not answering the phone right now, I say, I can't talk about this right now, or flat out, I'm doing this right now. I can't do this right now. You know what I mean? So I'm just more honest. And then it also starts to teach them, okay, you can't do this with Ashley anymore. You can't do this with this person anymore. And it's going to take some consistency. It really is, because especially if you're used to always being there for somebody, they're going to think, oh, okay, well, I'm going to try again tomorrow. And then I'm going to try again. And if you're not firm with, you messing yourself up. You got to be real consistent. Go ahead.
Yeah. Karen. I was going to say, this topic is really interesting because for me, in a lot of these spaces that we've been spending time in, what was most striking and jarring for me is the amount of people who I feel like lack a sense of context. And it's when they make comments and they say things like, Black people can't never stick together and Black people do this and do that. And I'm like, where did you grow up? What have you seen? What have you read? Because in my estimation, culturally, Black people, Black Americans are some of the most communal, and some of the most tight-knit familial situations out of necessity and survival, right? Like we grow up with our cousins like we grow up with our cousins like they're siblings, like a lot of other communities don't do that. They don't be like second, third, fourth cousin. They don't deal with all of that. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't even have like super close relationships with their grandparents. Like they may see their grandparents like on a holiday or something like that, like it's different. So I just be like, what are you experiencing? And I think that because we have had to depend and rely on each other so much throughout different generations out of necessity, like for survival, that it has bred, like you said, a lot of forgiveness and lack of boundary setting, and different things like that, because you just are kind of raised that way, like like this is family, and you just, you take family as they come, like that's what you do. You just deal with people because they family. This your brother, this your sister. That's like that's the first thing they'll say. Like if something go on or somebody do something, you're like, well, that's your cousin. So it's like, okay, what that mean? Like you don't get to choose your family. So I think that with the passing generations, and because of how individualistic this country is getting in general, that we are becoming more aware, like you say, of things like our mental health, and we are becoming more like kind of siloed off to be like, okay, let me take my own little family over here, and I'm not dealing with all of these shenanigans going on in a larger family, because like we don't necessarily have to in the way that we did. And I'm sure a lot of you may have experienced the same thing, like when grandparents pass away and a family kind of just like drifts, apart from how it maybe used to be before, and everybody's kind of like off doing their own thing.
Okay.
So I think that especially us as women in the family, because I think we are the ones that are expected a lot of times to just eat stuff and bear the brunt of stuff and fix stuff and keep it together and all these things. But I think a lot of us are like, no, like if I don't get along with this person, I'm not going to deal with this person. I can love you, and I can love you from a distance. Like I love you, but I can have my boundary, and you don't have to be offended by it. And if you are, then that's your business. You know what I mean? So I think that we have definitely gotten a lot better at doing that and not feeling guilty about it. Like a lot of my younger family members, I've had to even tell them, because I had to go through the same thing. I think you feel a lot of guilt because you're like, oh, well, you feel like you're abandoning your family, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, or like you mistreating people, or you kind of not being a team player. But you have to protect yourself first. Like that's what you learn. Like you don't have to be the strongest person all the time and carrying everything and just trying to brush everything off. Like, no, you have to take care of yourself. Like you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you can't take care of nobody else if you're not taking care of yourself. Right. So like that's the thing that you have to learn. And I think we are getting better at that. And I call it being okay with being selfish. And it's not selfish, but it feels selfish when you've been raised to be selfless. So it's just like, well, you got to be selfish. You got to be selfish because ain't nobody else going to take care of you but you.
I like that. Anyone else? Darwin, did you get a chance to weigh in on this one?
No. I just want to say, like growing up, I think I was with all the smoke. So I was just when that phone rang, I was with it. What they do, where we at with it. What he say? Okay, I'm over there. With every situation.